Okay, did everybody hear that? Don't walk outside and have your car going now. Make sure you check up on your whip. Let's give Sister Akola Rashid another hand. At this point, I'd like to bring forth a civil rights icon, Reverend Dr. Mary Galatas Ortiz. She's been a civil rights leader here in the city of New Orleans and the state of Illinois for decades. Dr. Mary Galatas Ortiz.
I say it like this: God bless you. Amen. 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 I can't follow that lady. I can't follow Brother Robert. But I got something to tell you. I'm 79 years old. And I've been at it a long time. And many of the accomplishments that have been made by you and people younger than us, I'm one of them who brought it into focus. Because I was never fearful. I'm a Moor, M-O-O-R-E. And Moors are not fearful people. That's my maiden name. I wrote down a few notes and I told Dr. Robinson, I said, when I get up there, these people are going to go in shock. Because I'm so different than y'all. But my father was Sidney Moore, but I had a great stepfather. And I honored my stepfather in my book. Because he was my good daddy. He took care of me well. He never molested me. And he'd kill somebody who'd think about it. That's the kind of stepfather I had. I wrote a book on how to 12 steps for child molester busters. So we're going to get them now. Amen. I want to say that just to give you a little history on the Moors, my Aunt Regina, my father, Sidney, had one brother and three sisters. And when Uncle Lavette, when Aunt Lucille went to California, she was the first. Most of the Moors never went to college. We were all sick when we were young, and we didn't know why. I didn't get to college till I got older. I used to fall out in school when I was a little girl, and the teacher said they couldn't handle me no more throwing up and falling out. So that went on for years, and my parents had money, my aunt had money, and they did well. And they said, well, we're just going to get somebody to come in here and teach her how to read and write. And they did that. I tried to go back to school. I kept falling out. They kept bringing me to Charity Hospital. They couldn't find out what was wrong with me. I was so sickly when I was young and I was thin. Well, after I got born again, because I'm one of them, the Holy Spirit told me he didn't want me in them schools, because what he was going to put in me in the years to come was going to be greater what they teach me out them schools. So I did get I got a doctorate and all that stuff now. You know, I went different places and got all what I had to get. But Aunt Lucille was the first black woman to have an escrows company in Los Angeles, California. She left here with about $22. And when she retired, people wanted to buy her name or use her name because it was so good. She would not let them. So my Uncle Lavelle, all these people are Moors I'm telling you about. So my Uncle Lavelle, he found out that they were making money out there, and he left with $17. And in 1950, they had a big write-up in the front page of the Los Angeles paper saying he was the third richest man in L.A., black man. And he and Merv Griffin became best friends. And he helped Merv Griffin open hospitals. Then I had a little cousin, and then my aunt Marie, she went to Riverside. They named me after her. She started buying a whole lot of property and got well off. Then my little cousin, he was young. He only finished the 8th or 9th grade, but he was brilliant. It's something about us in these heads and these molds. I don't know how to tell you what it is. But he went to jail. He committed a crime. he told him he wanted some books. And he started reading and almost cleaned out the whole jail. Everybody was going home. He became their lawyer. And yes, that's where the moles are. The moles don't give up and they don't take nothing. And it's doctor. Amen. I heard him say, I read in some article that the moles was the first one to pave streets in the world. And they would never, they never went to get a whole lot of high learning, but they just studied on their own how to put it together. I'm doing pretty good myself. I bought a house for $800 and sold it for $300,000. Come on here. I bought another, I had a piece of lot. I paid $200 and some thousand. I paid $3,000 for it. I got $250,000. So don't tell me the moles ain't small. And I got a piece now they trying to buy. I ain't selling that one. And I got more all around town and all over here. We think, and I don't care how much learning you get. If you can't think, something wrong with you. Is that right? I listened to this woman, how she's intelligent and how she presenting her papers and how she's thinking on this and thinking on that. I listen to Dr. Robinson, who always blow our mind when we hear him on the radio and everywhere. I told y'all I was going to be different. Now, they wanted a man to lead the Martin Luther King birthday celebration, but I was the one organizing. I said, that ain't going to happen. That's 39 or 40 years ago, so I've been leading the march ever since. They wanted a man to be the executive director of SCLC, and I was the one helped bring it here. I said, that ain't going to happen. I'm going to be the director, and Rev Marvin going to be the president. And I kept moving and moving. I'm not going to let nobody get over me. You know what I mean? So, I marched in Mississippi. They had a boy named Christopher Moore. And his daddy was a Moore at Grambling, a teacher, his stepfather, and he went to live in Mississippi to go to the whatever it is that they have a boat place out there where they build boats and all that, and he went there to get a job, and he stayed in Mississippi, and when he stayed in Mississippi, they had a white school teacher who was stabbed 41 times. And they picked up, listen to this, 41 people. I think about 19 of them were white, and the rest were black. And all their parents and their relatives came and got them out, except Christopher, because he was from Louisiana. He had no one. So they told Christopher, you're going to be the one. Just out straight, you're going to be the one. So they kept him in jail. And Christopher said one day they came in there and took a cup and put it on something without touching it to get his fingerprints. Brought it out, and they accused Christopher Moore of killing that woman. Well, we found out later on that this husband she had another wife was all stabbed up before. Well, we brought SCLC in from Atlanta. So I sit down and I told Ralph Abernathy and Joe Laurie, I say, look, that boy didn't commit this crime. They stayed at Joe Laurie and all of them. We brought people from New Orleans and all over the place. Of course, you know, I was very attractive when I was young. I was. And so they say, oh, well, one of them must be her boyfriend. I said, you better go see my hunk at home. Because, baby, they couldn't touch him. So anyway, Joe Laurie and them came to town. And I would always let Reverend Avery C. Alexander get the beds. I'd sleep under the table because I didn't want none of those guys flirting with me because my husband told me where to sleep. And I would bring my blankets and my sheets and my pillow, and I would always go in the kitchen and find, make me a bed under the table. So I stayed with a lady named Miss Campbell. So when Joe Laurie and Ralph Abernathy came, they said, look, they said, Marie, you bold, you're not fearful, and we got to go, and we're going to leave this in your hand. What a mistake. And you're going to have to march, you're going to have to conduct the march, you're going to have to do everything on the courthouse steps. We got your bullhorn, we got everything you need. So I went to Miss Maddie, I stayed with Miss Maddie and her husband, And I said, Miss Maddie, I told them what they said, and she said, well, you could stay here, because I was always looking for the cleanest house, because I'm immaculate, you know. And I said, I could stay there. So I said, Miss Maddie, I said, we're going to have to get about 18 women together to go out there at the courthouse, thank you very much, and put on a rally. I said, we got to show the Klan, because the Klan was sending notes to me, telling me what they were going to do me, and what they were going to do this and do that and all like that. And so I said, we got to have a rally. We cannot let these people hold us down. So we got 18 women. And we sit on Miss Maddie's floor. And I started organizing. I said, now I'm going to get on the bullhorn first. We're going to do a prayer. And this is what you're going to talk about. We took about 5 women and said what they're going to talk about. I said, we cannot bring our black men out here because they're going to catch them and they may try to lynch them. We must protect the men. So the women stood together. Well, we decided to roar it around the courthouse when the Klan sent a note to me saying we knocked one of his eyes out, we did this, we did that. I hadn't heard nothing from the Holy Spirit, and I was all nervous and everything. So I said, we got to see this ourselves. So I said, that's an old building, we can break in there. It wasn't letting us in the jail. I said, we could go through the window and get in there and see. So 18 women all agreed we were going to break into jail. So I went around the jail, and that Sunday I saw all the people going in, and I said, well, it's going to be easy. We're going to stoop down, and when the women, all them black women going in there, we're going to ease in there and get behind that wide door, and when the door closed, or when the elevator opened, we're going to jump in with them. Well, honey, when it was time to do it, we had 2 people left, me and Maddie Campbell. I said, that's okay, Maddie, we're going to do it. So we went that Sunday, me and Maddie was saying, oh. I said, come on, girl, come on. And I was just pulling her. And eventually we went behind the door. So the elevator opened. And when the elevator opened, we jumped on. And some of those 18 women was going in there to see their loved one. They said, oh, y'all gonna get us in trouble. You and Maddie gonna get us in trouble, and our son, blah, blah, blah. And I said, shut up. I was younger. I said, shut up. Any of y'all say anything, we're gonna knock y'all out. So we got up to the 2nd floor, Reverend. I'm not like that no more, Reverend. I'm a Reverend. We got up to the 2nd floor, and the elevator opened, and there was Christopher. Nothing wrong with him. And I said, Christopher, you look good. He said, yes, ma'am. He said, I'm all right. What's the matter? I said, well, the Klan sent us a letter and told us they beat you up. He said, and all of a sudden he said, no, ma'am. And he didn't move. He got frozen. Then I saw this white hand get on my shoulder. And I looked over. I said, don't you touch me. I didn't know who it was behind me. And that white hand got on my shoulder. And I kept saying, get your hand off of me. And Christopher said, don't touch her, please, y'all. Don't do her nothing. She was only trying to help me. And the jailer told Christopher, shut up. And the jailer said, Miss Galatas, he called me Miss Galatas. This is my name. Before I got married again, I got me another honey pie. And so, I'll tell y'all about that. Well, the other one died. They say I killed him. I didn't kill that man. They say I was too young for him. All right. So I got me one night, and I'm going to get back to the jail. I'll tell y'all about it. The Lord told me I'm born again now. I hear from the Lord. He said, I'm cleaning my refrigerator. Let me get back to the jailer, Reverend. So I'm cleaning my refrigerator, and I'm sitting on a stool in the Holy Spirit, because I'm on television, I'm on the radio and all that. And the Holy Spirit says, your husband is looking at you on television, and he's falling in love with you. Now, my other husband dead. I said, what husband, Lord? I've been faithful to you all these years since that man died. I said, I don't know anything about no other husband. He said, he's not going to be of your race. He's going to be what you asked me for. I asked him for a 6'2" man. The weight, because my other one was 6'4", and I got tired of that. And I told the Lord what I wanted. So I went to bed that night. And I'm going to tell you right now that I got him. But he's a Latino from Puerto Rico. Oh, but he's fine. But now, get to the jail, Reverend. Okay. So the jailer put his hand on my shoulder. And when he put his hand on my shoulder, I turned around and I said, I know you're not touching me. He said, Miss Gladys, let me walk you down the back steps before I lose my job. Now tell me God wasn't in that. And that made me know that whatever I was doing in life, every time I got in something, in a situation, in a protest or whatever, and looked like I should have gone to jail, you know God always got me out. He got me out. Are you telling me I have 5 minutes? Yeah. All right. All right. So I want to tell you that I worked on a lot of cases. I'm not going to call the names and all of that. But it has been a monumental deal with me and getting in trouble. And in this city, if you want something to get out against a politician, put me on the radio. Am I right, Mr. Robinson? And that's what they do. They put me on the radio. I pioneered the rape department in the city of New Orleans years ago. And so I wrote a book. And anybody want the book, you can have it in the layaway. It's $14.95, but it's on sale for $15. I want to tell you that I appreciate you having me here. I've learned a lot. I said, well, I'm going to just get up there and be funny. I had a lot of stuff I was going to say, but y'all needed that. God bless you.
Let's give Harriet Tubman another round of applause. Dr. Reverend Mary Gladys Ortiz, thank you. All right. At this point, we would like to bring forth Reverend Dr. Joe Connolly. He is responsible for the Isaiah Institute at Bethany, UMC.
Amen.
Dr. Joe Connolly.
How do you follow that? Who put this order together? But there is one thing I want you to know. If that's going on TV, my wife, are you there? Because I'm looking, I'm looking. I bring you greetings from the Isaiah Institute at the University of New Orleans on behalf of the Executive Director, Joe Gibbons. Joe is at a program in Port Sulphur. And asked me if I would step in for him to do that. All right. The Isaiah Institute is an institute that trains community organizing. Basically, it's about coming together across racial lines, across here in New Orleans, across the neutral zone, across from the East Bank and the West Bank, across from Metairie, from regardless of your education, regardless of your economic strata. It's about building relationships. And so, right now we're addressing two major issues in this state and in this city. Young black men are killing each other worse and faster than we're killing cockroaches for nothing. Out of disrespect, looked at me the wrong way, or you stepped onto my turf. What we've been trying is not working. If I gave you an aspirin or a Tylenol and you told me you had a headache, 5 minutes later you say your headache is gone, I tell you no it's not, because there's nothing up here medically that can cause you a headache. What that aspirin, that Tylenol did, it addressed something else in your body that was going on. What you call a headache, it was an identified symptom. What we are seeing right now in these young black men, young black women that are killing each other is an identified symptom that something else is wrong in the system and in the body. And until we address that which is wrong, which I believe is education and economic injustice, nothing else can change. That's what the Isaiah Institute is about. So we have a peace initiative that we're starting. We'll soon be addressing mass incarceration. Louisiana leads the world Most folks will tell you they leave the United States. But if you leave the United States and you leave the world, and the number of men and women that we incarcerate, sadly about 75% of those we incarcerate are African American men. Now it's getting legal to get weed. Majority of our men are in prison for a nickel or less, serving 10 to 40 years. So when I thought about this, I said, how are you going to have a Methodist preacher who was raised Baptist, spent time with Pentecostals, come in the midst of Muslims to talk to them? I don't know your language. I'm not trying to be what I am not and offend you. But I went to the book, because there is a Quran in my car, and I also have the Bible. And in Ezekiel, which is in both, in the 37th chapter in our Bible, it says that God told Ezekiel in the spirit, I want you to go to the valley of dry bones. And I want you, when you get there, to breathe, to prophesy on those bones. For there was a large valley, and all the bones were displaced all over the valley. There was a large amount of deadness there. I call it being in the middle of a mess if you are Isaiah. Isaiah was there before Ezekiel. Ezekiel went there not in person, but in spirit. Sadly, though, we today are living in the middle of the same type of messes in our communities, and we're not doing enough about it. Stop asking and waiting something to come from Trump. It ain't going to come. It's not going to come from his office. It has to come from our churches, our mosques, our brothers, our sisters, our neighbors, regardless of your economic or your racial hue. In that valley, as Ezekiel got there, the bones were displaced all apart, torn apart. God told him, Ezekiel, when you prophesy on them, I'll bring them back together. I'll put muscle on them. I'll put sinew on them. So Ezekiel did that. When I read it again this week in Bible study, it just amazed me. For 35 years of ministry, I had never looked at this part before. Only until preparing for today. It said that when he prophesied and the bones came together, it said the bones came together. Well, logically, you would think that the bones would come together right back where they were meant to be. But how could that happen? Does that mean that Dr. Ortiz's left arm connected back to her body? Or Dr. Robinson's right arm connected to his body because that bone knew where to go? No, I saw in my mind bones just coming and fitting in where they fit in. Bones from all types of people, bones from all types of sorts. So what I'm looking at is, if we're going to change our community, we got to come from the Muslim community, the Christian community, the Jewish community. We got to come together across and begin to take a stand and say no more. Not on our watch can we allow the same system of injustice to continue anymore, regardless of what your racial is, regardless of what your economic is, regardless of what your education is. I can go into any room with any of them in this state and can stand toe to toe from the governor on down. I told him I have a bachelor's from a white university. I have a master's from a white university. I have a doctorate from a white university. You see, I was told a long time ago as a kid, my parents were out there fighting civil rights. They said, Sonny, you learn to play ball the white man's way, but you don't let him know you know how to play ball. So then I went and got a doctorate in JD from Southern University. That's where I have my Southern colors on. And I did that, Doc. At 50 years of age, I went back. Education and economic justice is the key to changing the lives in our community. Until we go back to where we own things in our community, until we are supporting each other, regardless, now, don't be jealous. Be the bones. The bones came together. And when they came together, there was a rattling that made some noise. We can't walk silent anymore. When the bones came together, the scripture said, and they formed a great army. Can you imagine? The Isaiah Institute is training right now, all across this state, individuals to lay down your color, to lay down our biasness, and to come together. Because when a bullet goes, it's not looking for a Christian or a Muslim or a Jew. It's not looking for a black or a white. It's just looking for a body to land in. Sadly, though, it's just been too many of ours. Now, I'm just a little country boy from the hills of North Carolina. But I took what my parents, my grandparents put into me: discipline, respect, tenacity, study. We didn't have much. We used to create our own games. We would take old bicycle rims and a stick and run down the road. You're shaking your head, you know what I'm talking about. Run down the road. We would then play a game called Red Rover. Red Rover, Red Rover. Well, Red Rover, you would take, everybody would get together and you would form two teams. You would link your arms together. And you would say, Red Rover, send Joe right over. And Joe would run to try to break through that line. If I broke through that line, then I could take one of them back and be part of my team. But if I didn't break through, I became part of their team. But it was about strength. I want to invite you right now to stand up. If you're willing to stand up. And to link up with the person beside of you. It might be different, but to link up. For when you link up with the person beside of you, you are making a visible symbol to yourself, to each other, and to God that you will not be broken. That nobody will ever break the bond that you have with the person beside of you or the nation or the community that you live in. And then in finishing, as the bones came together, they became a great army. If you could see what I see a great army. I see men and women who are saying to yourselves, I want to be a part. I want to find out more. I want to get involved. I want to invite you right now. Just repeat after me if you're willing. I am part of an army. We are an army. Now that wouldn't scare a flea off the side of the building. Say it. I am an army. We are an army. Not on my watch. Not on our watch. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
All right.
Let's give Reverend Dr. Joe Colley another hand. Right. At this point, I'd like to bring forth Sister Marion Henderson Ulohu. She is responsible for the Sisters of Hearts organization. Sister Marion.
Yeah. Okay. That brother.
Assalamu alaikum. All right, I'm good. My most sincere greetings of thanks to the Chancellor of Suno, Sister Irene and Brother Nasheed, all my sisters, brothers, and friends. I greet you with Assalamu alaikum. According to the Washington Examiner, Louisiana has the highest incarceration rate in the world. 5 times more than Iran, 13 times more than China, and 20 times more than Germany. It's time for us to end mass incarceration in the state of Louisiana. Louisiana's imprisonment rate has more than quadrupled in 40 years, despite the criminal index falling by more than 40% over the past 2 decades. Getting tough on crime wasted money and didn't make anyone any safer. Louisiana's harsh sentencing laws are outdated, a waste of taxpayers' dollars, and they do not improve public safety. Because of the high imprisonment rate, Louisiana
ends up spending more than $625 million a year on incarceration. People are sent to prison for corrections and rehabilitation. That's why the guards are called correctional officers. Their main job is to correct criminal behavior and rehabilitate criminal conduct. But if you continue to send your car to the mechanic to be corrected, and